Welcome everyone for to the Leverage Edu live session. I'm Tushita Jolly. Yeah, I'm a head coach with IB 100 currently, and I'm an undergraduate educations expert. So the topic that I'm going to discuss today is undergraduate admissions, and I'm going to take you through following topics. The topic number one would be I'll be addressing how overseas education is a good idea for students after their 12th standard. The second thing that I'll be talking about is going to be the profile. How do you build up your profile for going abroad? What are the different documents that you require, and what are the different kinds of tests that you need to go through? Before we begin, I would also like to give you an insight about what we do here at Leverage. We're India's most trusted university admission platform for students going abroad. If you're planning to study abroad and wish to start your international study journey, then feel free to reach out to us. We here at Leverage help you reach out to your dream study abroad destination. If you're confused about how to apply for a university abroad, where and when to apply, we can help you. Apart from this, we guide you to go through the application process, fees, preparing you for interviews, helping you with scholarships, loans, accommodations, and a lot more. You can reach out to us on our website and avail benefits of of the university admission services. So I'm going to first of all start with why should we study abroad? For students going in for undergraduate admissions, it is extremely important that they understand. So studying abroad opens up new avenues for you, gives you a lot of exposure. You you are trained and you are taught in world-class universities by world-class professors. And while I understand that this can be a daunting process for most of us, even and extremely overwhelming for our parents as well, we must understand that this is an important step for your education. There are many steps that one can take up on how they can build up their profile. One of the most important things that a student can do to build up their profile is to, number one, start with mapping out what have they already done. So if you've done internships, if you've done online courses, if you've been a part of, let's say, the school's editorial magazine, or you're someone who's worked with, you know, just with any kind of NGOs, or different schools actually offer different programs, such as CAS programs for IB students. Then CBSE offers various programs, and the students go for these plantation drives. All these things really matter. Different kinds of workshops that you've attended really matter. So these are a few things that you can keep in mind. First, mapping these out, and then realizing what are the things that are missing from your profile. Once you can navigate that out, it is really easy for you to start working on things such as, for example, you've not done a lot of NGO work, so you start you start volunteering at various organizations. And for example, you can teach underprivileged children, you can be a part of, there's so many organizations such as Vastu that helps people with drug addiction, then so many more things. You can look at a lot of internships. There's one with Tribes for Good that really helps students engage with a lot of people and helping people who are coming from a low income group to turn it into a profit maximizing business. So that really helps. Along with that, you start building your profile on the basis of if you have done any kind of leadership, if you've been in any leadership positions in your school. For example, you're the head boy, or you're someone who has let's say someone who's been the sports captain, cultural captain, or anything. Even writing pursuits really matter. Your things such as if you've been a part of debates, MUNs, if you've done any kind of fellowships, if you've done certain projects under your teachers, those really matter. In 11th and 12th specifically, when students take up, let's say, a science stream, so there's so many projects in which they're building up cars with the school teachers and different experiments that they perform. Those can be enlisted. You can always, for example, if you're someone who's going in for sports management and you're already playing sports otherwise, so you have various memberships, you've won various awards, you can always talk about those awards. Your international Olympiads really matter. These things really add to your profile. Along with that, things such, even if you have like a small sponsorship from somewhere, for example, if you're playing golf and you have a sponsorship, so those sponsorships can really affect your profiles. And any extra courses that you've done, let's say I had a student who had done something in dramatics, so he has a certificate issued by NSD, National School of Drama. That really helped his profile. Now, once you're done with building up your profile, there are various tests that you're supposed to give. Apart from our 12th grade examinations, we need to give SAT exams or ACT exams, any one of the two, depending on the location. Again, you can give your IELTS or your TOEFL, which is language proficiency, which is extremely, extremely important. Preferably, we get a band between 6.5 to 7. This opens up various universities for us, and universities understand how, if you understand the language well or not. Again, the aptitudes tests such as SATs and ACTs determine how good are your analytical skills and writing skills. Another thing that is very important is once you're done with these, you need to keep these aside, and specific scores you need to map out how long are they valid for. This is one of the most important things one needs to keep in mind so that they can apply in time. Then we have to get on with our, then after that, the most important part of your entire journey is getting your documents prepared. Like I told you, we here at Leverage help you write down your SOPs. So SOP is one of the most important part of your student journey. So you basically tend to write your SOPs in, let's say, we brainstorm sessions with these. So we sit down and we realize that, all right, if you're writing down your SOP, how do you introduce yourself? Or how do you introduce your academic field of interest? And what are your career goals? So basically, this particular document helps you map out your intent, purpose, and motivation. And after this document is done, what is important is your LORs, your letters of recommendation. This is a document that talks about what others, for example, your school teachers have to say about you. So you're not supposed to be worried about if you're sounding the same over your LORs and your SOP. That validates the information. Another thing that is extremely important is your CV. Now, your CV has to consist all of the things that I've already talked to you about in your profile building. If you've done everything in your profile building and you cannot show it to the university in the form of a CV, it is of no use. So hence you will write down, you tend to make a CV in which you talk about all your extracurriculars, your leadership positions, your workshops, your extra information, your sponsorships, your national level, international level accolades, and again, your marks. All of your marks are supposed to be enlisted there. This allows a university to have a brief over what have you done so far. Okay, the first question that I have is, hey, I want to ask if in 12th, and I haven't given any IELTS exams or competitive exams like SAT and can't afford studying abroad. So is there any way out for me? Well, there are various fully funded scholarships that many universities offer. So it's extremely important that you build up your profile on such a note and you avail these scholarships. We can give you further information about this. You can always log on to our website. You can always communicate with us. That's absolutely fine. We can help you prepare for these scholarships, especially these scholarships require a particular SOP. In order to write that down, there's so many pointers that you need to keep in mind, such as how is it going to be different from the SOP that you're submitting to the university is one thing, of one point of differentiation. What are those things? What are the do's and don'ts of this is also extremely important and will be advised later in detail. The next question is, ma'am, I want to ask, after 12th, can I go abroad without scholarship examinations, like a direct admission there? Without a scholarship examination, of course, you can always apply just to the university directly without going in for a scholarship. That is absolutely fine. Not everyone goes in for a scholarship, and that's understandable. Another question is, hi, I'm studying in the 12th standard right now, and I wish to do data science after completing my 12th. So can I do data science taking commerce stream in the 12th standard? Well, of course, you can do that. A lot of people who have a business background do tend to go in for data sciences. That's absolutely fine, but you need to make sure that you have done a certain degree of, let's say, calculus, or you have done something. I hope you have taken computer sciences along with your other subjects in commerce. So that is one way to go about it. You can always go in for this. This is absolutely fine. There are various universities that will help you with data oriented programs. You can always aim at going to US for the same. Yeah, I think you have great opportunities there, especially CMU. I think CMU offers a great program for data sciences. Which university is the best and how can we apply for scholarship? There's no such thing as the best university. What happens to be the best is how you are a great fit for a certain university and which university is the best for you. A lot of times, students enroll in top ranked universities, which they feel are, let's say, which are just a particular brands. If a student who goes to Harvard and a student who goes to MIT, they're two different students. But the person who's going to MIT in most cases resonates from the idea that, you know, he wants to get into something mechanical. That is his goal. So you also make sure that a particular university in a particular country offers the particular course that you want to go in for. Is it the best university to study that particular course in? It's not only about the brand value. It's also about whether that course is taught well there or not. How would you apply for a scholarship? For different universities and different locations, there are different ways of applying for a scholarship. For example, certain universities, you can apply for a scholarship while you're filling up your application form. And for certain universities, after you've received an offer letter from the university, that's when you apply for a scholarship. So that depends again on the university and the location you're applying to. Which college is the best for data science? As you can look at CMU. If you can build up your profile for Carnegie Mellon University, you can always go in for that. That is an excellent program. For which bachelor's degree should I go for to doing data? Which you can always go in for computer sciences and then move to data, or you can just go for data sciences directly. That's absolutely fine. Or you could even get into business and then take up data. There's no particular bachelor's degree that you need to pursue before data sciences until and unless you're coming from arts. Which online course should you do if you're going for customer management or supply chain management? When you're going in for customer management or supply chain management, you can there are various courses which you will find over. If you're looking for online courses specifically, you can look at Udemy, you can look at edX, you can look at all of this. Again, you can go in for a simple BCom if you're looking at universities education, or you could look into something related to marketing and PR. Even that really helps. So that teaches you in a way, you know, how to communicate with your market, how to communicate with a particular target market and yield out results. I think that works the best. Next question that I have is, I would like to do a BCA and an MCA for data science. Is it any good? Well, I think data sciences is the new hot topic. It's like the course which is on the rise. A few years back it was psychology, and now it is data sciences. So it is something upcoming, and I think this particular field has a scope of growth. So of course, why not? How to choose a college and a location? Well, there are different okay, so the most important thing in order to choose a college or a particular location is research. The first thing that you need to see is, for example, let's say a student wants to go to UK is best as it is the business hub of the world, right? So a lot of business people do tend to, you know, move towards UK in order to do business oriented degrees. A lot of people look at, for computer sciences, a lot of students do tend to apply to University of Waterloo in Canada because the program that they offer. So the things that you need to base this upon is, number one, are you comfortable going to a particular country? What does that company offer? What does that country offer? What are the different kinds of job prospects available? What is the ROI on that? That is the return on investment. What is extremely important is, does the course, when you go through the course and the curriculum of a particular university, make sure that you go through different professors and what have they taught and what have they learned themselves. You can always check them out over LinkedIn. So it's a good idea that you realize what the professors are teaching. There are a lot of universities whose online lectures are available over YouTube. You can always check those out. You can always check universities on the basis of their ranking. You can look at Financial Times ranking, Economic Times ranking, QS rankings, or US News rankings for that matter. And that should help you out. Again, every year, you know, different universities have different professors and they keep shifting. So again, you never know how a particular university suddenly says that, all right, this university is now better for a particular course. So that is constant research. Then again, you can always come to us for further guidance. We'll be happy to help. If I don't apply for scholarship, then what are the requirements for admissions in foreign universities? If you're not applying for a scholarship, what you really require is, again, your testing scores. You need your profile built, you need your CV, you need your SOPs, you need your LORs, and then you start filling up your application form. And there are certain university specific questions that you need to answer to. And then you submit your application. So that's how you go about it. Then you basically wait for the university to get back to you. So which field is good for me if I'm good at management? Well, if you're going in for management, you can always go in for a BBA, or you can go in for a BCom as well. It depends. I mean, if you are someone who wants to take the same in masters, you can go in for an MBA or an MIM course. If you want to be very specific, you can go in for an MSc finance, you can do financial mathematics, you can do MSc marketing, you can do leadership management. This, I mean, if you want to diversify, let's say what type of management, certain people want to get into luxury brand management. So there's an MBA in luxury brand management, global management. So again, there is a wide scope available for you. Okay, so you're pursuing your BBA right now. You can go in for an MBA. That's not a problem. MBA is a safe bet, but for that you require years of experience. You can go in for an MIM as well. So that's Masters in Management, available at various universities. You can always look at UK and US for the same. Just in case you have further questions, you can always reach out to us over our website or our Instagram handles or any other social media handles that we're available at. We'll be happy to help. And thank you so much for all your questions, and thank you so much for joining in, everyone. We have another session tomorrow, same time, same place. So I hope you join that as well. And this is an epistolatory thing, so we do this literally every day. So you can catch up with us again tomorrow, 6 p.m. We'll be more than happy to help you there.